Hello, my name is Lisa Zimmerman, and today I'm going to be giving a talk for the Sachem Public Library called Eat Summer Fresh. And we are going to delve into how to eat as healthy and as fresh as possible during this beautiful time of year. So I want to get started. I'm going to share my screen with you, so just give me one moment. All right, so let's get started. So, my name is Lisa Zimmerman, and I am a health coach, a personal trainer, and a yoga instructor. I have a health coaching practice called Evolve Wellness Health Coaching, and today we are going to talk about healthy summertime entertaining. Now, before we do this, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have a bachelor's from Stony Brook and a master's from St. Joseph's University, and I have those certifications that I mentioned before. Now, I obviously have a great interest in health and wellness, but I wasn't always as healthy as I am now. So even as a young child and throughout my 20s, I was overweight. I eventually went on to becoming tired all the time, dieting all the time, a smoker, a junk food vegetarian, and I was frequently sick. And so I, of course, went to several doctors to kind of find out what was going on. And I had my blood work and my physicals done, and everything seemed to be healthy, and all the blood work came out in range. And that is when a physician said to me, I think you may be depressed, and handed me a prescription for antidepressants, which I do believe have their place, and I don't blame him. But it was really odd to me that, thinking back, not one physician asked me what kind of food I was eating and how I was moving my body, if I was even moving my body. So it's not their fault. That's not something that's typically taught in med school, although med schools are starting to do it now, and we're seeing a wonderful shift, especially at some of our local universities. So this is a good thing. But at the time, that wasn't really the mindset. So I took it upon myself to start studying nutrition and activity and overall wellness. And I started to shift out of what I was doing into a better pattern. And when I did, everything changed for me. I was healthier and more optimistic, more creative. My mood was better. I wasn't always on those up and down roller coaster rides of caffeine and sugar, up and down and up and down. I had better relationships with my family, my friends, probably because I wasn't so tired and moody and grumpy all the time. And I had less sugar cravings. I was more confident. I had better self-esteem. The weight came off. I didn't even go on a diet. And overall, I feel better in my almost 50s than I do in my 20s. So one of the things that I teach to my private clients is that it's not about chasing the next big exciting thing. It's not about the next diet or the next pill or the next supplement. It really comes down to changing your lifestyle. And that is what I help people with, lifestyle change, because we want things to change in a way that are sustainable, that we can do and shift and slowly over time, that are not temporary, and that work specifically for us and for our lifestyle and our unique needs and our unique situation in a way that is free of guilt and deprivation and, I would say, unfactual, not evidence-based practices. So let's see what we're going to learn about today. Well, we're going to cover how seasonal eating is a component of healthy eating, how you can make smoothies and other wonderful ways to keep hydrated because it's hot out there, how to build better salads, and some of the tools that would be really helpful for you when you are preparing vegetables. So seasonal food, that means food that's growing from the farms and food that's available in the local farm stands on Long Island right here, right now, are typically fresher and very high in nutrients because they haven't spent a long time being grown in another country or maybe across the country here and then shipped via plane, via boat, or what have you. We all know what it's like to eat a tomato that came out of our garden versus the one that we get on the shelf in the supermarket. market or at a farm stand. Typically, they're just fresher, juicier, plumper, and just wonderful to eat. So what I would like to encourage is getting to know your local farms. Now, I'm in Suffolk County on Long Island in New York, so these are some of the local farms that I like to go to. I love Thera Farms. It's right on a beautiful campus in Brentwood, and the farmer there grows gorgeous, gorgeous produce. By me, I have the Lakeland Farm that's in Savo. There's a Sables Farmers Market, Islip Farmers Markets. So there's many, many farmers markets around, and you might know that there's one like by you that you want to go to. You can go to localharvest.org and search for farms near you in case you're not sure which ones are local to you. So what's in season on Long Island in the summer? Well, really depends on the time of month that you're watching this video. But really, throughout the summer, you can get lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, multiple herbs, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, beets, carrots, radishes, corn, all kinds of berries like blueberries and strawberries, melons, peaches, apples, summer squash, and the list goes on. I'm sure there's things that I'm leaving out. So just keep in mind, there's so many beautiful veggies and fruits for you to enjoy. Now, during the summer, it is very easy to get dehydrated. Sometimes we will get a thirst sensation, and it's not going to appear until we are a little bit dehydrated. So dehydration affects everyone. Staying properly hydrated is really important for everyone, not just if you're out there running or using a computer. We all get dehydrated. The question I get all the time is, well, how much water should I drink? So I use this basic equation of taking your weights and splitting it in half and converting it into ounces. So I am 120 pounds. Conversion in half is 60, so I'm going to drink about 60 ounces. Now, if it is 90 degrees out and I decided to go for a run, or if it's just 90 degrees out and I decided to hide in the house, but I'm doing some housekeeping, maybe I'm going to need more water. Maybe I'm going to need less if I'm at my computer screen all day not moving. So really a nice way to gauge it is just look at your urine. You want nice, clear urine. You don't want dark yellow urine. So look at your urine. Your urine's going to tell you what your body needs. And then that equation is usually helpful for most people. So a lot of people tell me, hey, I don't like water. I can't stand the taste of it. I know I'm supposed to drink it. I just don't know what to do. Well, I like flavored waters, and Sassy Water is another name for it. And they're wonderful because you take delicious, beautiful fruits and herbs and you put them in the water and it infuses in there, and it's visually very, very pretty. And it's a great cue to remind you. So I like to put lemons and limes together and put it in the water, or you could use strawberries or raspberries or pears. You can also add something to make it a little more complex. So sometimes I'll use vanilla beans, and then I'll add pears, and then I'll add cinnamon. You can do cucumber and mint. So whatever variety of herbs and spices and fruits that you like, or even vegetables, is what your Sassy Water is going to be made of. So you can experiment with that and see what you will like and see if this helps you. Another thing you can do is make sun tea or iced teas. I have a sun tea maker, which is basically a glass jar. I throw in a couple of tea bags and then I just put it outside and let the sun do all the work for me. I bring it in, take all the tea bags out, put it in the refrigerator. It's got a little spigot on it, and we drink beautiful sun tea. So in this, you can use fruits, herbs, or your favorite tea. Now, the other way to keep very hydrated is with smoothies. Smoothies are really great, especially this time of year, because they're refreshing, they're hydrating, and they add a lot of the fruits and vegetables into your diet that a lot of people say are really hard for them to do. So think about the vegetables and fruits that you really love. If you don't like kale, by the way, I don't like kale, then forget about it. You don't have to eat something because you were all of a sudden told, oh, it's the newest superfood and I'm supposed to eat it. No, that's not how it works. You have to eat food that you enjoy and that you want to put in your mouth. So always include leafy greens. So spinach and romaine are mild tasting and won't bother you typically because they just don't have that extra veggie flavor that a lot of people complain about. So I always suggest including leafy green veggies because they are super, super nutrient dense and they're super good for you. And we tend not to eat enough of them. Now, one caveat is that some people tell me that when they combine smoothies with other foods, they get gas, bloating, or indigestion. I'm only mentioning this so that if this happens to you, that you know, okay, this is normal. She said that, and there's nothing wrong with me. What most people do in those circumstances is they just have the smoothie on an empty stomach because sometimes when you combine a smoothie with other food, it's just too much for your belly to have to digest. Also, I recommend that you think about balancing the protein, fat, and the fiber. So you can add in hemp seeds, almond butter, or a protein powder that you like. If you're having a hard time remembering protein, fat, fiber, just think PFF. So as you're making your smoothie, think about, am I adding protein? Am I adding fiber? And am I adding a little bit of fat? Just to make this a nice, delicious smoothie. So how do you make smoothies? I'm going to be honest with you. When I first started making them, they came out awful. They were like this big brown, I don't even know, just like this big brown mush of not yummy goodness at all. So I finally have mastered them, and this is how I go about it. I begin with the liquid, and it's a base. It's coconut or nut milk or water or it's some of those chilled herbal teas that maybe you want to make, or it could be yogurt. So you fill that up into your blender and you slowly add the fruits and the veggies. Over time, it might be helpful to shift the veggie to fruit ratio so you have more veggies and less fruit. The reason being is we tend to not eat enough vegetables, and that is a nice way to ensure that you're getting enough of your vegetables. Now, if you have blood sugar issues, that is that you get sensitive to not having enough protein in your diet, or maybe you are diabetic, it's important that you have a good ratio of fat and protein to keep your blood sugar balanced. So you're not all of a sudden spiking your glucose, bringing your insulin up, and then having a crash. So you can do a little bit of avocado, maybe a spoonful of nut butter, or you can add some flax or hemp oil, whatever you like. And if you want to add something interesting just to make it colorful or add just something differently flavored, you can add cacao, you can add dried berries or cinnamon or turmeric, and then blend for a good 1 to 2 minutes. So don't be afraid to put that blender on for some time, and then add more liquid if necessary. I want to move on to building some better salads because typically what I see happening is that people will have just that romaine or that iceberg lettuce and then throw on some blue cheese and that's their salad. And that's fine, but the salad world is way more interesting than you may realize. So let's talk about building a really yummy and better salad. So you can start with the greens. Let's see, there's a lot out there. So maybe you like romaine. Maybe you like that musclin mix, which is really lots of leafy greens put all together. I'm a big fan of arugula. There's red leaf, there's green leaf lettuce, there's Boston lettuce. The list goes on and on. So go explore your farm stands to see what they have. Then you want to add some crunch into it. So the crunch keeps things interesting. You can add apples, pistachios, some red onion, some sliced almonds, carrots, celery, radishes, pecans, cucumbers, pepitas, sunflower seeds. There's all kinds of really crunchy, tasty things that you can add. Then you want to layer on the flavor. So maybe you'll add some basil or mango, pomegranate seeds, tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, artichoke hearts, mushrooms, dill, dried cherries, bell peppers, olives, or roasted or grated beets. And then if you are someone who eats cheese, add a little bit of feta, goat cheese, blue cheese, Parmesan, cheddar, Pecorino Romano, Locatelli, the list goes on. And then if you're feeling like that's not enough, or you really want to make this a meal and not be hungry for several hours, you could add some avocado or edamame or chicken, salad, salmon, anchovies, shrimp, hard-boiled eggs, lots and lots of things just to bulk it up. And that is an idea of how to make a really awesome salad that is not boring and that will keep you interested for the rest of the season. One of the things I love to do, and I bring to either work with me or I bring to the beach, is salad in a jar. So you can make these ahead of time and then put them in your refrigerator so that you just grab and go. They typically will stay fresh for a week, and how you would make them is you're going to take a look. We're going to go through this on the next slide, but basically the most important thing to know is that your dressing is going to go on the bottom because you don't want the dressing on the top, otherwise you're going to have a soggy salad, and you want your greens to be on the top. So this is a diagram that I'm going to explain to you in the next slide how to go about this. So you want the quart-sized jars because you typically want to make a big meal, and you want to get those wide mouth ball jars only because the shorter ones, the smaller mouth, it's really hard to get the ingredients in because you're going to have to take your hand and place those ingredients in the jar, and if you have a big hand and you're not using a wide mouth jar, it's not going to work out for you. So what you want to do is add the beans, the quinoa, and the hard-boiled eggs to make it heartier. You want to make sure that you're leaving the room at the top of the jar so that when you shake it up right before serving, you have space. And you want to eat salad out of the jar or pour into a dish. So that's another thing that's wonderful about a salad in a jar is you can just eat it straight through. And the most important rule is that the dressing is at the bottom and the greens are at the top. I actually have a bunch of recipes for everything that we're going to talk about today. So if you want these recipes, you can go and to the last slide of this presentation, which will have my email and contact, or you can contact your favorite librarian who'll contact me, and then I can get those recipes sent out to you. So these are some salad in a jar combinations. So remember, the vinaigrette and the dressing is the first thing to go in. So your dressing is the first thing to go in. It's going to go on the bottom of the jar. So we're going to do balsamic vinaigrette. Then we're going to go add in some chickpeas, then add in some roasted red peppers, celery, red onion, provolone, and then remember your leafy greens go at the top. You're going to leave some room at the top of the jar, and then you're going to close it up. When you're ready to bring that out to eat, you're going to turn the jar upside down, shake it up, and you can either place it on a plate or you're going to eat it out of the jar, which is super convenient. So other combinations are honey mustard, cucumbers, tomatoes, shredded carrots, baby spinach, sunflower seeds. I love mustard vinaigrette, so I put in some shredded carrots, cherry tomatoes, sunflower seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and baby spinach at the top. And again, another really good one is, so you have your jar, you're putting your citrus vinaigrette in on the bottom, then your red onion, then your yellow bell pepper, then your cucumber, then your feta cheese, and then the arugula. So I hope that you will try these. They're wonderful. There's a little bit of prep and work in the beginning, but it is an investment in a beautiful and delicious meal. So the other thing with the summer is people tell me, you know what, all I'm doing is eating hamburgers and hot dogs, and they are very surprised when I tell them that they should experiment with barbecuing vegetables. Grilled vegetables are so good, and they are so different than a vegetable that you've prepared in another way. They are typically more tender, they're sweeter, they have this caramelized flavoring and the smoky flavor, and they are just so incredibly good. So I would like to request that you experiment. Try some squash or asparagus or potatoes or green beans or onions and mushrooms, peppers, eggplants, whatever you like. And if you are barbecuing some meat, just experiment with your vegetables. It's really, really nice. You can do them both at the same time. And I'm going to give you a recipe right now that you can do. So This is a grilled vegetable platter that I try to make at least once a week during the summer. And what we do is we have the ingredients, which is a quarter cup of olive oil. You can even take a picture of this slide if you like, so it makes it easier for you to refer back to it. But basically it's olive oil, honey, balsamic vinaigrette, oregano, garlic powder, pepper, and a dash of salt. And you whisk those 7 ingredients together. And then you take that marinade and you put it in a Ziploc bag. Or you can put put it in a metal bowl or some kind of bowl if you like. Then you're going to put in your asparagus, your carrots, peppers, your summer squash, and your onion. And you're going to shake it all up, or you're going to whisk it all around, and then you're going to marinate this for a half hour at room temperature. You're going to come back to it, you're going to take it out to the barbecue, and then you're going to grill these vegetables over medium heat. You're going to close your barbecue, and it usually takes about 8 to 12 minutes. Or you're going to just look at your veggies and you know that they're crisp and they're tender. And as you do this, you can also move them around as you would your meat and shift them around just to make sure that everything's getting evenly cooked. I have a feeling after you eat the vegetables barbecued, you'll never want to go back. Here's another recipe. This is almost like a grilled salad. I love this one. This is grilled romaine and peppers. So you're going to need 2 heads of romaine lettuce, and it's really important that you cut it lengthwise. So you want to keep that core in there, so that keeps the lettuce together. You're going to use bell peppers, any color that you want. Right now you can find all kinds of interesting colors like purple. There are purple peppers out there. You're going to use shallots and an onion. Again, take a picture of this slide with your cell phone, or you always have it to review. You can always hit pause. You can use any kind of small tomato, any kind of delicious avocados, 1 or 2, and then some sea salt. Any kind of salt is really fine, and some ground pepper. So what you're doing is you're going to take the peppers, the shallots, the tomatoes, and the romaine cuts with the cut side down, and you're going to grill it on high for just a few minutes. And then on medium high, you're going to place the peppers and the onions on their cut side down, and then you're going to add your tomatoes on their cut side down. Then when the peppers have bubbled, when you see that the romaine is nice and crispy and barbecued, and the onions are done, you take everything off, you take your halves, you put all those gorgeous vegetables on there, and then you top it with the fresh avocado. It is so good that I've had people tell me they don't even need dressing. So this is another unique way to enjoy a salad. Helpful kitchen tools. When I first started cooking, I really didn't know anything about utensils and what you were supposed to be using. I was probably using a steak knife and a plastic cutting board that was like really, really tiny. But if you can, try to get yourself a good chef's knife, a good cutting board. It can be plastic, it can be wood, a nice peeler, one that you're not like struggling to get the peel off. So invest in Titan is one that a lot of people like. OXO is a brand that a lot of people like. You don't have to get a Vitamix. There's a lot of good blenders out there. A sheet pan. Your salad spinner is really, really important. And then having some bowls to store things in. Because what you're doing is you're doing a little bit of prep ahead of time, and you want to be able to easy access those fresh vegetables. So some tips to help you enjoy the summer barbecue season. You might find yourself very, very tempted by going to the barbecues or barbecuing yourself and not knowing what to do when you get there. So you can beat this temptation by filling up on the healthy foods first. So if you feel like you're going to a home where that's not going to happen, I always bring a fruit tray, or I'll bring a crudité. So there's something for me to munch on, so I don't feel like I'm being left out. You can also fill your plate with lots of fresh greens and fruit, and then choose some raw vegetables over the chips. So you're kind of getting that idea that we're filling ourselves up so that we're not so tempted to go for the not so ideal foods that are sometimes served. If you want dessert, you know what? Have it. There's nothing wrong with having dessert. I love dessert. But just be aware of the portion size and keep it reasonable. The other thing is just pay attention to the signals and the messages your body is giving you. Recognize when you're full. Sometimes when we see so many delicious foods all in one place, it's hard to stop ourselves because we want to just try everything. Once you're finished, turn your back from the table and get moving. Play with the kids or get everyone together for a game of volleyball, or ask people if they'd like to go for a walk. Maybe play frisbee or basketball or tag. It's the summer and it's a rare opportunity for us to get out and be with people. So there's other things to do than just sit and eat. Share, talk, have stories, hold your grandchildren, play, sing, dance, enjoy yourself. But move away from the table so you'll be less tempted to keep eating. I hope that you enjoyed this talk and that you got something out of this presentation. What I want to say to you is, if you are inspired and want to do any of these things, even the smallest thing, pick one thing and then move on to the other. So if you're thinking, I want to start making salad in a jar, then I'd like to ask that you do salad in a jar tomorrow because of the law of diminishing intent. Basically, what it says is the longer you wait to do something that you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. I've experienced this myself, where I've put on workout clothes or I put them out by my bed, and then the alarm goes on, and then I just keep hitting the alarm clock, and then I finally put the workout clothes on, and then I say, oh, let me just get this project finished first, and then I'll go exercise. And I keep procrastinating, and I keep putting it off, and then the next thing you know, I haven't exercised. And then one day has turned into another day, just turns into another day. Just like we tell ourselves, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and if it's not something that we immediately start implementing, it usually doesn't happen. So I just want to share that with you because that's super important, because you can learn a lot of information today and take a lot of notes, but if you don't implement it and set yourself up for success, you may be disappointed by it not happening. And I really, really want it to happen for you. I want to thank you so much for watching this presentation. I want to remind you that I have a ton of recipes that I have available for summertime eating. So if you would like them, you can directly contact me at my email or at my phone, which is on this page, or if you feel more comfortable, you can contact your favorite librarian and ask them for those recipes as well. I'm happy to share. I hope that you are well and that you've enjoyed this presentation, and I thank you so much for being here with me today.